this video, I'm gonna show you how to easily check your oil level, add more if you need to, how to tell if you need to change it or not, and some other tips and tricks. First thing you wanna do is make sure the car or truck is on a level ground. Next, make sure the engine is off and let it cool down a little bit. Otherwise, just wear some gloves and know that it'll be hot. Next up, you wanna find your hood release lever. It's usually underneath your dash somewhere. My truck, it's right here under the steering wheel. On my wife's Tahoe, the handle's right here. Come around to your hood and somewhere underneath will be a lever. Mine's here. Next, you want to locate your engine oil dipstick. Clearly it will say engine oil, or it'll be a little picture of an oil can, like an oil lamp. I want to make sure you're not checking the transmission dipstick. This one's a little different. It says gear on it. This one's the oil. Usually they're marked yellow in modern cars. Be careful, the engine might be hot, along with any hoses or anything else under there. What you'll need for this is just some sort of rag. I've got this shop towel here. If you use a paper towel, be careful that you don't leave any little lint pieces on the oil dipstick, as you don't want those to get into the engine. So once you found your dipstick, take the rag and take the dipstick and pull it out. It could be long depending on the size of your engine. You notice there's probably going to be oil all over it. You're going to want to wipe all that oil off so you can get a clean reading. On your dipstick, you'll notice hash marks, or sometimes there's little holes. In this one, it says add to this line, and then in this range here is safe. And as you can see on hers, there's little dots, and the space between each of those dots is about a quart of oil. So what we're going to do is we're going to carefully put the dipstick back in the dipstick tube, push it all the way in. All the way in, you want it all the way in, that way you make sure that the bottom of the dipstick is in the right place in the oil pan, so you get an accurate reading. Then simply pull the dipstick back out. Let's look at where the oil level is. On mine, you can see it's just below add, so it looks like we're probably about a quart low on this engine. And that's fine, I know it burns a little oil. So we're gonna add a quart of oil. When you take it out, you can see this oil is still a little clear and a little bit brown. That means that the oil is still good. If this oil was really black, it would mean that it would be old and burnt, and you definitely want to change it. I know that I've got plenty of miles left on this. If it was milky or tan, it would mean that you might have coolant getting in your oil, and that might mean a head gasket or something else, so you want to get your engine checked out if that's the case. But if it looks nice and clear, or a little bit brown like this, you can smell it and see if it smells burnt or not. And mine smells fine. So push it back in, make sure it's all the way seated, and that's it. You've checked your oil. Your engine will also tell you what kind of oil it needs. This one says 5W20 SAE, the standard weight, 5W20, and then a little picture of a manual, so you can look in your owner's manual to find out more info. But usually it's that simple. To add the quart, simply take the cap off. Make sure you've got a clean funnel. If you're brave, you don't have to use a funnel. And simply add in the right oil. And I know I've got about a quart left in here, so I'm just going to add it all. To make pouring the oil easier, especially out of a larger jug, turn it sideways and tip it over. This will help you hold on to the bottle or jug more easily, and also allow the oil to flow out smoothly by letting air back in. Slowly, just in case. See, the funnel fills up. Don't want that to overflow, that'll be a nice big mess. Give it a minute to drain out. And if your container is empty, you can dispose of it properly or save it for when you change your oil yourself. And then you can put the used oil in it. Give it a minute to drain. It's probably gonna take a while, so what I like to do is I like to take the end of the funnel and stick it in the rag. And then I'll let this sit somewhere where it's not going to make a mess. Then you take your cap and screw it back on. Make sure it threads properly. Just make sure it's finger tight. Doesn't need to be over tight. Give the oil a minute to drain through the engine into the pan, and then you can check another reading here. And we are good. The line is in the middle of the safe zone now. Right there. Now just shut your hood. All you need is the right type of oil, in my case 5W20, and then a funnel and a rag. I like to use high mileage, full synthetic oil. Costs just a little bit more, but it lasts a lot longer. Some reasons you might want to check your oil are, if your engine doesn't have oil, it can seize up and be ruined very quickly. There's a lot of fast moving parts, the things that have close tolerances and run hot, and oil helps keep everything running smoothly. Even if you're just a little bit low on oil and you push your engine hard, you could have what's called oil starvation, and then all the parts start to rub together because they're not getting enough oil. So check your oil regularly, especially if you have an older car with high mileage. Seals tend to go, you tend to burn a little bit more oil, which can be natural. I've heard of even some new cars burning a lot of oil. And if your engine is low on oil, 5 minutes and a quart or two of oil will get you back on the road and save you thousands in engine damage, towing, being stranded on the side of the road, all those things. Don't just wait for every 3,000 miles for your oil change, every 5,000. With synthetic, you can go much longer. There's longer intervals with other cars. But even with full synthetic, I like to go maybe 5,000-7,000 miles, depending on what I'm doing. Even though the engine oil says that it can go much longer than that. I'd rather spend the 50-60 bucks on the synthetic, do the oil change, than ever have to worry about the engine breaking. A lot of cars have a red oil light that comes on when you don't have oil, and usually when that happens, it's already too late. Some have a yellow reminder, a maintenance warning that you can reset, a maintenance light that'll come on. What I like to do is set my trip for how long it's been since I've had my last oil change. So you can see my oil is still good, but it's been about 7,000 miles, so I'll probably be changing it soon. Another tip is that I keep a little notepad in every vehicle, and I write down every service, every oil change, and what type of oil I used. So I can see the last time I changed my oil, and being down a quart after this many miles and this amount of time is not a big deal. Because I'm using the high mileage oil, I know that the oil is still good and I don't have anything to worry about. So that's it. It's pretty simple. Check your oil, make sure your engine's in top working order. If you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more. May God bless you and keep standing up for what's right.